Welcome everybody to a look at the first film in the Japanese Godfather Trilogy, which is a box set that Radiance Films have released. So this is the box set itself. And the first film is called Japanese Godfather. It was released in 1977. And there is the artwork that we have for the Radiance Films release itself. So like I said in the unboxing video of the box set itself, all three of these films are directed by Sado Nakajima, who did The Rapacious Jailbreaker, a film that Radiance Films has also released in the past. So I won't go through his directorial over stuff because that's the only film I've seen and no point repeating myself. So yeah, all three of these films are actually Yakuza crime dramas. This film clocks in at 132 minutes long, which I do believe is the second longest of the trilogy. Let's take a look. Yes, just as the second film is 141 and the third film is 131. So yeah, none of these are particularly short, but then nonetheless, this does star the likes of Koji Surata, who was also in Samurai 2 and 3, which is one of the first films to star the character of Musashi. We've obviously talked about another box set to star that character, and Koji starred along as his rival, um, which I'm misremembering now. But yeah, nonetheless, really nice to see him in another Toei series. He was also in the likes of Some Sympathy for the Underdog, Big Time Gambling Boss, and more recently from Radiance Films' Blood of Revenge, which also came out this year. Also stars Hiroki Matsukata, who is also in Shogun Samurai and The Fall of Aiko Castle. Koei Nishimura, who is in like Zatuchi the Outlaw and Samaritan Zatuchi, so those are two of some of my favourites from that long-running series. And you got like Bunta Sugawara, who was in Cops vs. Thugs and the first Battles Without Honor and Humanity film. That's another series of Yakuza films that I've not yet gotten fully through, so hopefully I will at some point. And finally, you got like Shinichi Chiba, who was in Shogun Samurai, The Fall of Aiko Castle, as well as Legend of the Eight Samurai, The Street Fighter, and Hokuriko Proxy War. Another film Radiance Films has released in the past. So, Yakuza leader Sakura must balance his violent tactics necessary for the rough streets of 1960s Tokyo with the domestic needs of his daughters and more besides, as there's also political wranglings involved in this, with the Yakuza getting involved in political influence in politics, as well as a rival gang that Sakura is going up against, who are in the east, whereas he's mostly in the western lights of Tokyo. So, yeah, there's a lot of elements to this, and much like with other similar films, this has a barrage of characters and motivations that at times are difficult to keep track of, but it is nonetheless highly engaging, while the bursts of action and violence are impactful. The cast is also great, the cinematography is superb, it is generally well paced for a 132-minute film. The score is good, and the character interactions are on point. The biggest issue this has, though, is that due to the sheer number of characters, characterization is unfortunately somewhat lacking for the majority of them. So that's the main issue with this, because, yeah, there's so many of them. Now, granted, not a lot of the characters in this survive. A few notable ones do die due to the events that go on in this film. So maybe the ones that are surviving do get a bit more characterization in the second or third film. But as far as this first one goes, yeah, the characterization is unfortunately a little bit lacking. But that said, overall, it is still a really, really impressive effort. And yeah, considering a lot of this is, people in rooms talking, trying to outmaneuver other rivals, be they political or rival gangs and such, it is surprisingly engrossing. That is helped by the cinematography, which at times does take some interesting shots to break up the monotony of all of the talk that goes on in this film. But nonetheless, yeah, it gets a 4 out of 5. So a solid start to the series. Much like with the Miyamoto Musashi series, that also started off with a 4 out of 5. So yeah, a decent start overall. So yeah, we do get reversible sleeve artwork with this release, which I don't believe we get for at least one of the other films, because it's free and there's only two sides per case, obviously. And yeah, on this disc we get a high definition digital transfer made available on Blu-ray 1080p for the first time in the world. Not sure if that's the case for the other two or not, but yeah, they are all a world Blu-ray premiere, so that is nice to see. This has uncompressed mono PCM audio, so as far as the audio goes, it's fine. I did spot a couple of mistakes in terms of the subtitles, and in terms of the high definition digital transfer, it's on the whole looks good, although you can tell it's had no restoration work per se, because there are some white spots and flickers that go on throughout, but nothing that's all that distracting. And on this disc for this film, we've got archival interview with Asado Nakajima from 2020 that clocks in at 33 minutes long, as well as trailers and new and improved optional English subtitles as well. But like I said, there are a couple of mistakes in those subtitles, for instance. So yeah, but on the whole, a really, really good effort and a solid start to this trilogy. Now, the trilogy itself is actually based on a novel, or at least a series of novels. Um, his name slips my mind now, but he also did the Battles Without Honor and Humanity novel series as well. So yeah, this has clearly been. It does seem like this is a film that was released, or the trilogy was made in response to that series because it was successful at the time. Directed by Kinji Fukasaku, by the way. So yeah, like I said, only seen the first film in that series, but that also got a 4 out of 5 as well. But I do feel like that was a little bit more urgent in terms of its general pacing and plot, especially since it is a lot shorter. But then again, there are far more films in that series than in this one. I think there's 8 in total. So yeah, whereas this is only has 3 films, so it's a lot more condensed in terms of amount of films. So therefore, each film has to be longer and therefore a little bit more methodical in terms of its outlaying of characters and plot. So yeah, but on the whole, like I said, a really really good start to this series, and hopefully it only gets better or stays as good from here on out. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you have seen the first film in this trilogy before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.